All right, we are all set. It is Triumph Tuesday. This is Carol, aka Naughty Bus, live with two.
Sistas. Hey, good evening, everyone. It's Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0. Excuse me. Yesterday, obviously, we were chatting about all sorts of different things about mindset, and I was sharing my experience with cutting and peeling. And it occurred to me that it was, you know, that recipe book, The Joy of Cooking?
Yes.
And then Jim McKay, The Thrill of Victory and the Agony of Defeat. So for me, it was not the joy of peeling, cooking, and baking. And the agony of defeat was the cleanup. So I just wanted to share that funny little tidbit.
Well, that is funny. And, that's part of the thing when you are working on any kind of recipes or preparation for like pickling, like you were doing, and you get this abundance of vegetables, which is so awesome. There's a lot of work that's involved with that.
And just one quick thing, sorry.
Nope.
And excuse me, we tried it tonight. Oh my God, even I was like, I made this. This is pretty good.
Oh, the green tomatoes?
Yeah.
So they rind pretty quick then.
Yes.
Or pickle. I don't know, we call it pickle rinding, I guess.
And I had 2 jars, and of course, they were both like filled, like pretty much to the top. But then when they start, they say to go in there and shake it up every couple hours and turn it over. So that's what I did. And then this morning when I went to check on them, they were, because they get saturated, so they get weighed down. So each jar was filled up like half away. So then I combined the 2 jars, and then we have, of course, had a few left over. So, I tried about 2 of the, 2 little pieces, and of course, Gary was like, "Oh, these are really good. I made them really good." And I'm like, excuse me.
It was a joint effort. You got to kindly remind him of that. But yeah, it is Triumph Tuesday. And, we want to hear from our viewers and our audiences of what you triumphed over. Today, I triumphed over actually going to do aerial yoga, which I was very definitely out of my comfort zone. I'm not a yoga person to begin with. I did a yoga class years ago, and I kind of got kicked out because I was just laughing because you're in all these awkward positions. And I don't know I know you're supposed to get into that mindset, namaste, and the whole 9 yards. Yeah, well, this naughty boss had a difficult time with that. So yoga, it would not be my first choice of, can't wait to get to that class. However, I was very intrigued by the aerial yoga because you are obviously using these silk sashes, I wouldn't call them ribbons, but they're like sashes, pretty big width of material, and you develop all these different skills with, obviously stretching, because yoga is all about stretching and mindset. And, you can do, kind of all these little acrobatic type things, which I did one. I actually did go upside down. We didn't get a picture of it because I was like too shocked that I even actually did it, to stay in it long enough to get the shot. But my girlfriend and I went, and, shout out to Marcy, because she has been going, and she thought it would be something that I, would be interested in doing, especially where I'm doing PT and I'm doing a lot of stretching. She thought, I go, well, I don't think I'm going to tell the PT person that this therapist that this is what I'm doing, because I'm not sure they would quote approve it. However, it was awkward. It was definitely, out of my comfort zone, because I don't know really anything about yoga. I don't know the terms except for downward dog, which I think is kind of bizarre name. I'm not sure why that is the name. I guess I would have to ask somebody that's, really into yoga. Like, I'm sure there's some significance to it. I just don't know what it is. So, so there was, I think there was 5 of us in the class, and we're all spread out, obviously. And when you are taking a leap into something that you're not comfortable with, and then add that it's awkward because I don't know the terminology, I don't know the positions, and the fact that when you're in this silk, there are certain ways that you maneuver your body, and naturally that fear comes over because you don't realize, the strength of, like, there's steel beams to hold these things, can hold up to 10,000 pounds. Like, she went into all of that to make sure that I felt secure that,
Mhm.
Because I was imagining, you know, when you're on a hammock and sometimes you don't get in it quite right and you kind of do a flip over. That was what I was really envisioning in some of the moves, because you're just, you know, you feel like, oh my God, I'm going to flop right over. So I didn't flop over. So that was a triumph. And I actually managed to do okay. That was a big triumph for me because I was really not too sure about this.
And you didn't get kicked out of the class, so that's a good thing.
Well, and that was the other plus, because it wasn't, because I think it's more free form. You're doing a lot of stretching, but you're doing a lot of, like, when you're lying on your back or your stomach or your, you know, your leg is over this, I'm going to call it the sash. There's probably another specific word for it. You're just letting your body kind of go into these positions and just, you know, in a more of a relaxed, you know, I guess, space. I did, however, absolutely love the last move, because you're actually folded into the entire sash. So then it becomes almost like a hammock. And then she dims the lights, and then she does this, you know, some sayings and some readings. And so that was kind of cool. And I just put you in that really relaxed state. But I was proud of myself that I did it. I signed up for 4 sessions because I knew the first session would be, you know, kind of awkward. Like, I have no clue what I'm doing. And I'm sure, as it's one of those things, you know, when you're not comfortable doing something, you usually got to do it quite a few times before you get comfortable. And sometimes you may never get comfortable. This may never be my thing. I don't know, but I'm, you know, definitely putting, you know, I'm jumping all in for these 4 sessions. So today was the first one. And it was a little awkward.
And, you know, sometimes the, when you're trying something new, it is definitely a little intimidating. And, you know, that is something, excuse me, that I would definitely love to try. It sounds very interesting.
Well, you know, I have a couple friends, that one in particular that's very good at it. And so she's like way up high, and she does it in such a way that the sash is not in a loop. Like, it's 2 sashes, that silk sashes that come down. So she's wrapping herself into, she's almost climbing up like a rope. And then she wraps herself in such a way. And actually, I think, you know, you see that in kind of Cirque du Soleil, you know, they wrap themselves and they roll themselves down and roll themselves up. So she's doing it with 2 sashes. So, you know, this is more like it's in the shape of a U, almost like a hammock. So I'm assuming that's, you know, what she does is more, obviously much more advanced, but and she's naturally a gymnastic. So she's got those long lines and, you know, the point of the toes and the high, and I'm still working on stretching out my hip and my knee. So, you know, I was limited because I was very mindful of, you know, I'm not going to injure myself either. So, you know, I think you would enjoy it. I think you would enjoy it.
That sounds really awesome.
Yeah.
And you know, what else is happening? Oh my gosh, lots of great stuff today. Amazing conversation on the Wisdom app, and you know, just getting organized. I still have to work on my desktop. It's out of control. Which leads me to a question that I was chatting about yesterday on the Wisdom app is, are you a digital hoarder? And in this case, I have to say yes, because I'm usually very good about cleaning up my desktop, and my email is certainly up to date. And we've often talked about this often. If you haven't read like a newsletter or, you know, whatever information that you're getting in your email, don't save it to the digital file, because it's the same thing as it is digital hoarding. You're saving it not for a good reason. I mean, if you haven't used it, get rid of it, unsubscribe, go through your email, you know, search for that name, delete all the email, you get rid of it. It's such a good feeling to cleanse the digital stuff away.
Well, true. And that, you know, and that's, you know, a way to triumph over your devices, because we do get bogged down, with so many different things that you don't realize. A lot of times you may want to check out something online, right? And they immediately say, you agree to subscribe to this. Well, all of a sudden now, every day you're getting 2, 3, 4, 5 emails from the same company. You're like, oh Lordy, what did I sign up for? So it's a great idea. And for those of you that don't know, this is a great way to triumph over your digital devices. Like Jan said, just put the subject matter or the subscriber's name in your search engine. And guess what happens? All those particular emails with that address come up. And then you just keep clicking delete all, delete all, delete all, and boom, they're gone. And I actually did that for a few emails right before I jumped on this one, because I'm like, I know some people have to have like 0 in their email all the time. The number doesn't bother me, but I do get to a certain number where I say, I got to start deleting stuff, because a lot of it is just junk, but sometimes I'm too busy to even do that. So you really have to set some time aside to say, I'm going to get rid of this stuff up, because it adds up. I remember when I deleted one particular email address that I was not even using anymore, by the time I deleted it, there's probably over 10,000 emails in it. Most of it was junk.
Right.
Most of it was junk.
And the other thing that people tend to forget a lot is when you do that, like a cleanse like that, right? A digital cleanse. That's what we're going to be doing. Don't forget to, at some point, empty out your trash can.
Oh, that's one thing I am good about. I probably empty out my trash can probably every 3 days. So that's one of the things I'm really good about. I just have to get the trash in there.
Exactly.
Because it means nothing if you're only emptying out a few things. You want to empty out a lot of things, because it does. It keeps your digital devices clean, neat, tidy. And but yeah, I was excited. I had a good Triumph day. And we always talk about, sometimes a Triumph is a very small piece to a bigger piece that you're aiming towards. So sometimes it could be, just, spending that hour doing some digital cleanup. I don't have the time to do it, but bam, I gave myself 30 minutes to an hour, and boy, do I feel good now that I see that number coming down. Or, maybe you got to that drawer that you were trying to clean out, a project, maybe outside weeding, you said, oh, it's been warm out. So now I'm going to weed early in the morning, get up a little bit earlier to, do about a half hour, an hour of weeding. Maybe you had to catch up on laundry. Maybe you have been putting off a certain project, or putting off getting back on the bandwagon of your health and wellness, getting in that fitness level. So whatever it may be, pat yourself on the back that you triumphed over that. Because sometimes it's a struggle for people when they've either been away from something too long, or they procrastinate about doing a project.
Well, yeah, because let's face it, procrastination is a destination that when you get to it, when you should have done it and you didn't do it, and then it's overdue, and then it stresses you out. That was a word jumble. No, let me rephrase that. That was a word salad.
Yes, that was, I would call that a salad. A lot of good information in that salad, a lot of good ingredients. Speaking of ingredients, I did make a new meal tonight, which I was excited about as well, which was a lemon basil caper pork and shrimp dish with sauteed cauliflower, onion, some nice red peppers. And then as soon as I got to the store, I saw that bag of cherries. So I grabbed another bag of cherries. I'm going through cherries like crazy.
And of course, I was going to like that post, but I am not going to, because I don't like seafood.
Well, I
But
added
it's
shrimp.
so good.
Right. It is very yummy. And it's one of those things where you don't have to add the shrimp. I just added the shrimp. The actual recipe didn't even call for it, but I had some shrimp and I wanted to add to it. So it was very tasty, very good, very light, dairy free, just, just totally yummy goodness, all good veggies and stuff like that. It's just, this is a time of year where, where everyone's in abundance of vegetables from their garden, or knowing that when you're going to the farms or the grocery store, they're getting in so much good fresh produce that you just want to dive into it.
Yeah, and I've actually been dairy free for 5 or 6 days now.
Good.
Yeah, which is pretty good. Other than you know, I do have like maybe one sip of my coffee in the morning. That's about it. But and then I have my coffee at night, as I really like that. You know, that's pretty significant, you know, going from 4 to 6 cups, and then I weeded it down to 3 to 4, and then all of a sudden, maybe 1 cup a day. So
Yeah, that's awesome. And a lot of people, we do talk about that, is people are caffeine dependent.
Mhm.
And how do you safe, and I call it safely, because for a lot of people, if they're drinking a lot of caffeine, because it
Mhm.
could be coffee, it could be, you know, the diet sodas, it could be energy drinks, that kind of stuff, you can get headaches. So you got to be really mindful of when you're decreasing the amount of what your body's normally used to, even though we know those are unhealthy amounts. And there are good caffeines out there. Anything that's derived and extracted from the actual black tea leaf is good. Green tea leaf is good. Those things are good for you. Those are going to give you that natural energy, but not the chemical fix that some of these other drinks have.
Right. And, you know, and if you have gallbladder issues, like I do, let me tell you, you know, it was hard not to have a slice of that Swiss cheese the other day. And I'm like, no, not doing it.
Well, you know, it's your body too telling you, and a lot of people have a hard time connecting the dots. And that's one thing that they got to learn to triumph over is your body gives you all those kind of clues and signals, whether it's a stomach ache, whether you're in the bathroom going, whether you get crampy, whether you get acid reflux, whether you start getting headaches. Some people can get rashes. Those are all signs, outward signs that your body's saying, hey, I don't like what you're putting in it. It just doesn't agree with me. And a
Mhm.
lot of people forget that as each decade goes by, your body constantly goes through changes from a hormonal perspective, but also from, you know, a metabolic perspective. Our bodies are always changing. So you have to listen to them and stop ignoring the signs. And I think for a lot of people, that's hard to triumph over because it might mean giving up maybe some of those favorite things that you liked. Now, we're not saying give them up in their entirety. Maybe you can have just a smaller amount. But when you're used to having certain things and then all of a sudden you realize, my God, my body's reacting to it. You can't control that. Your body's your body. You got to listen to it.
Right, exactly. And of course, you know, what a difference 5 days makes.
Yeah,
So,
you're gonna be finding that you have that less bloating, probably less gas. You know, just it really just creates such havoc on your body. And a lot of people, to no fault of their own, truly believe that, you know, they've been brought up with that dairy does the body good, and it's a fallacy. It truly is. I recommend, and I tell this to everyone, if you want to know really all about dairy, there is a documentary on Netflix called What the Health, Health. You will be shocked. You will be surprised, but it's good information to understand. And they go into such depth of the signs that your body goes through from an allergic reaction perspective. And you might find they're talking directly to you, that the stories and that what you're hearing, you're also experiencing yourself. So it's good to always, you know, listen to your body. And a lot of people don't. They kind of fight the system. They fight the body. No, no, no. I like that. I want that. So that's the psychological piece
mhm.
to it. But you have to also understand you're doing your body harm, because even though it may not be a quote poison, it's not good for your body. Your body's reacting. So in your case, it is kind of a poison to your body. So if you keep feeding it the same thing, then it's saying, no, don't put in me. I'm just, okay, you're going to keep doing that. Guess what? I'm going to give you headaches. I'm going to give you stomach cramps. I'm going to give you bloating, all those kind of things that who wants to deal with that? Not
Yeah,
me.
yeah, that's that's yucky stuff. And you
Yeah.
know, that's not the thrill of victory. And certainly it is an
The
agony.
agony of defeat. That's right.
Oh Lordy. But you know, like I said, what a difference a few days makes. And by the way, before I forget, um, we are at tonight is episode 485.
Down to the last 15.
Mm-hmm.
We're on that
Now
countdown to episode 500, people.
we sure are, and we do have a lot of traveling commitments coming up. Not sure that we will exactly have the 500th episode on that day, but we'll see what happens.
That's right.
Mhm. It's a
I
good
love
time.
that we have that flexibility.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Lots of great things coming up. Um, gosh, feeling blessed and grateful. Gosh, I don't know what else to say.
Well, that's, those are the little things that people forget to slow down, to remember that there's blessings all around us. Little, big, does not matter. It's just a matter of being open, having your eyes open and your heart always open to the little blessings that are around. And we are certainly blessed that we are able to, reach so many people from so many different countries with our message of, wellness, mindset, triumph, and celebration of one person just taking charge of their health and wellness. And then, of course, we always go on to other topics as well. We're good that way.
Yeah, something about something, nothing about nothing, but it is something about nothing if you're talking about a certain, well, never mind. I won't get into that. Another word salad.
Yes, there it was. Another word salad. You're good with that. Yeah. And it just goes to show you that, we are mindful of what is going on in our world, because a lot of people, when they talk about the different things that are going on, they don't realize that also impacts our health, our wellness, and our mindset. Sometimes in a good way, sometimes not in a good way.
Absolutely. And on that note, we here at TwoSistas, obviously we love sharing what we're passionate about. And what are you triumphing over? That's to be celebrated, because if you don't celebrate those wins, you have a much more appreciation when you get to that bigger win, because all that little stuff starts laying the foundation. And on that note, my name is Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0, and I am with
TwoSistas, and this is Carol Sue, aka Naughty Boss, live. We had some rain here in Vero Beach. I'm sure there's rain coming your way, no doubt. But you know what? That's God's way of saying, hey, got to give those plants, give those gardens. They need some watering, so it was well needed today. But I did get some pool time in to get some pool exercise. Whatever you are triumphing over today, make sure that you notate it down so we can celebrate you on Fantabulous Friday. We will see you tomorrow for Wellness Wednesday at 8 o'clock. We have a guest, and we wish you a great night. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.